Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So, as you know, these are the general energies, trends, and themes for the week. These were developed in tandem with you, my wonderful community. So, if you've been with me circa 2018, 2019, then you will know how these weekly generals came about. Lots of you love them. I love that everybody sends me articles and pictures and stuff of new snippets that they've seen to kind of tell me, like, you talked about this, you said this was going to happen, and here it is, and here's how it's showing up in the world. Yes, it makes me feel good. I'm human at the end of the day, but to be honest with you, the reason I love that so much is because it shows us that the oracle that is tarot works, right? That it does what it says on the tin, as it were. So with that said, every week I go into my intuition and I ask for, it's kind of like a mini meditation, and I will ask for a message. Sometimes it's a thought, an impression, a feeling. Sometimes it's like a mini movie that plays in my head. Sometimes it's just a word. And all of this infuses or, kind of sits underneath, if you like, all of the messages that come through the cards. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So, before we get into this week's intuitive message was on the wings of a dove. And so what I saw was, it was just like, it wasn't just one dove, it was loads of them, and they were creating kind of like almost like a mural, and it was almost like there was a doorway or a gateway of some sort opening up, and I was really like, it was very trippy. It was kind of like a, one of those clouds parted sort of moments, and everything was like, but it was like welcoming me in through the door. And so what this tells me is there is a profound sense of blessing about this week. I don't know what shows up for everybody, because obviously I'm not reading specifically for you, but I do feel like this is going to be a positive week. I think there are going to be some really wonderful developments, and I feel like whatever it is that comes through in your life as a blessing or shows up as something that you've wanted or needed, it will be on the wings of a dove, right? It will feel like it's almost heaven sent in a way. This is one of those times where if it feels too good to be true, it probably is, all right? It's one of those very few times in life, in the world, in our experience, right, where you can absolutely implicitly trust what is coming through. So I am totally here for that. And yes, with the warmer weather, the t-shirt that so many of you love, Deadpool riding a fucking unicorn, okay? Oh yeah, is back. All right, so look at this, right? Your message from the Human Design Oracle deck is the Gate 5 and Patience. And the message behind this card, as you've probably guessed it, yes, is absolutely about patience. But another part of the message with this card is you see the frog as he sits there on the lily pad. The frog knows, right? Whatever I need will be provided to me. I don't have to go anywhere for it. And so one of the messages for this week as well is you don't have to go out there searching and seeking for what it is that you're looking for, because it's going to find its way to you. You just have to exercise the patience in order for it to come to you. Now, given the fact that we are in Taurus season at this moment in time, slow and steady really is going to win the race, right? We've done the madness of the April and the Aries season, which I'm fairly certain everybody can agree was great, and it was a lot of energy, but whew, child, right? It was a lot as well. So this is a welcome sort of change of pace. But this week, on the wings of a dove, whatever it is that you are looking for or hoping for will find you. You don't have to go out there searching and stressing yourself and probably everybody else out in the process. If you're anything like me, that is. I have this wonderful ability to whip people into shape and get everybody sort of going in a frenzy on something. And, every so often they're like, Raph, I love you, but please slow it down, calm it down, right? So this, I think, is going to be a welcome energy for everybody. So in terms of our destiny card, that is the patience energy. In terms of our direction energies. How do we best tap into this and use it? Well, we've got the Six of Wands by really focusing on the day-to-day wins, right? That's one of the messages for the Six of Wands. We've got this with the High Priestess. By celebrating some of your wins silently, right? And then we've got the World card, until your community are ready for them. The reason I say this isn't about downplaying your stuff. It's not about feeling guilty for, it's like, when someone says like, I feel guilty in this when there are people starving in the world. Well, that's just as bad in my opinion, because it's not like you're going to be able to send that to them. You should enjoy what you have, right? You should be grateful and thankful and humble about everything that you have. And when and where you can help others, then you should do that, but do all of it with the full force of your being, right? And so what I mean by this is that Six of Wands is saying celebrate the small wins, right? Before those big things come up, before those massive moments show up. And this is the thing, we're so good at this in the Instagram age, right? Where it's like, we just see the achievement. We just see this amazing body. We just see this, incredible car, or this wonderful holiday, or whatever. What we don't see, what we're not really good at doing or celebrating a lot of, is the fucking hard work, blood, sweat and tears that have gone into creating that one snapshot of a moment, right? So that Six of Wands is saying celebrate your small wins and be present. Have patience. Know that every time you celebrate one of the small wins, that big win is going to be that much sweeter. When it comes to the High Priestess, hidden things revealed, this with the Six of Wands is getting to it. Celebrate your small wins, but stay on your grind, right? Stay on your grind. Notice how I didn't say hustle, right? I myself have been so guilty of this over the years. I'm not doing the hustle anymore. I'm happy to do the grind, and a lot of people are probably thinking, well, what's the difference between the two, Raf? Well, I'm glad you asked. What is the difference between the two? The grind is just knowing, right? It's the doing consistently. Hustle is like, rah, everything all at once, rah, fucking get out of my way. No, not doing that anymore. It's not healthy, and it's really not sustainable. The grind is doing the work when you have to do the work, and stepping off when you know you've done enough, right? And learning when that moment is another thing that has been slow but sure to come. So this High Priestess with the Six of Wands, celebrating those small wins, some of them quietly. This is kind of a message from the tarot to say you're doing really well, celebrate and acknowledge that, but you're not done yet. Right? And then with the World card here, the message here for me personally is really very clear. You have something that you are building, that you're creating, that you're ready to bring to the world, but it's not quite finished yet, right? That cake, that sumptuous, delicious cake that you can smell, is not quite cooked. So you need to make sure that it is. The other thing that works here as well, whatever you are doing in terms of community building, group joining, association connections and all of that, it's not so much about not letting anybody know. It's just about kind of acknowledging, assimilate yourself first. Get your bearings first, right? Really start to build something as a practice before you start sharing it with the world. And I know exactly what this is about for me. For our insight cards, if we could see around corners, what would we need to be aware of? So we've got the Five of Swords. We have the Ace of Cups. Okay, nice. And we've got the Four of Cups. Okay. So this is an interesting triplet as well, because it means that as the insight energies it's kind of like what's going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of just yet. What this means is there's some kind of conflict resolution that's about to take place. It might be something that you personally have wished for a long time. It may even be something that, we have collectively wished for. However, right, that's the Five of Swords with the Ace of Cups, right? There's a conflict resolved here in some regard, but the Four of Cups suggests that it may not necessarily, and the truth of the matter is, I never really used to understand this when I was younger, because I was like, well, you should just give everybody a voice, which I still believe staunchly. I'm an Aquarius, right? But you can't please all of the people all of the time. I know this just from all of the research that I've done with you guys over the years. And that's not to, I love my community, I absolutely do. But when I say like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, some people are like, oh my gosh, yes, that's a brilliant idea, do it. And then others are like, oh God, no, I don't want that. And, you know, with different things that I've bought you in different formats and all the rest of it, I want my channel to live, to grow, and to breathe. I want my YouTube channel to put out good information that actually helps people, but I also want to keep it fresh for myself. I don't just want to churn out the same sort of stuff every single week, every single month, right? I want it to grow. And so it's really interesting to see this, because I think on a personal level, on a microcosmic level and a macrocosmic level, we're going to see a conflict resolved this week. But I do think there's still going to be a few bitter parties as a part of it. And that is because you can't please all of the people all of the time. It's just a simple fact, right? There's no getting around it. The other way that this could potentially show up as well, with that Four of Cups, with the Ace of Cups, this is a surprise that makes you, like, sort of makes your heart sing. But because of that Five of Swords, it might be something that by accepting this, you're having to put somebody else out. Do you then put your life or your dreams or your goals on hold? No, of course not. You find a way to navigate it. Now, on the wider world stage, I forgot to mention here, because the world card is the world, right? You've got this with the High Priestess, which is a significator of women, but you've also got this with the Six of Wands. This is some moment, and we've been talking about this for a while now, right? But there's some moment of either women's rights that comes forward. There's some success or victory for women as a whole, which I think is a really important win for them at this moment in time. It also suggests as well that some of the conversations that are going to unfold, we're going to see something on the wider world stage revealed at this time. And I think it's going to put a lot of things in perspective in how we sort of treat people and each other. So it'll be interesting to see how this shows up. If I had to really get specific about it, I think this is going to be about designated spaces. I think we're going to see more in the development of the sports world. I definitely see that coming up. And again, we may see some form of resolution come through or for or because of this. And when we do, there is potential, there's going to be some bitter sort of, you know, we can't, unfortunately, it's just not possible, right? If otherwise there would literally be 7 billion different worlds, and maybe there are, who knows? That's a topic for a whole other day, right? But all in all, I think this is going to be a pretty decent week, and a lot of what shows up for us, if we let it, if we can sit still and let it unfold, I think is going to be divinely timed and guided. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.